Well, hey everybody, this is Scott, your Hoosier Marshall, here for another video on a Thursday afternoon. I'm just pumping them out today, or should I say this week. I wanted to make a video today at 7 o'clock tonight. At our Masonic Lodge, we have a new initiate coming in to take the first step of joining our lodge. Well, not really the first step. The first step is applying, but he's been through that process. Um, and now it's time for his first degree, his entered apprentice degree. Um, I'm sure he is excited about it. All of us, as members of the lodge, are excited to bring someone new in and welcome them into our fraternity. But our fraternity, the Masonic Lodge, that fraternity is like most things now. No one wants to get involved and spend their time doing things like this. But I'm here to tell you it's a very good organization. It's a charitable organization. It's a fraternity that's about brotherhood, and it's about making yourself a better person. So I put together this video to explain some things of what we are. And we're not a cult. We're not a secret underground society trying to take over the world. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope it helps you understand what we do and why we exist, or even how it is that we exist. So enjoy.
Walk into any Masonic lodge and you'll see symbols everywhere. The square and compass, the checkered floor, the pillars, the all-seeing eye. Most people think it's decoration, theatrical mystery designed to make the organization seem important. But those symbols aren't decoration. They're language. A visual code pointing to principles so fundamental that if you truly understood them, you'd realize the entire structure of reality operates on geometry. Not the geometry you learned in school, measuring angles and calculating areas. Sacred geometry, the mathematics of creation itself. And Freemasonry, along with every mystery school that came before it, has guarded this knowledge for one reason. Because those who understand how to work with these patterns gain access to creative power that most people will never touch. Sacred geometry isn't symbolic. It's structural. The patterns you see repeated in nature, the spiral of a nautilus shell, the hexagonal cells of a honeycomb, the branching of trees, the formation of crystals, these aren't accidents. They're the visible expression of invisible laws. Mathematical principles governing how energy organizes itself into form. And when you understand these principles, when you learn to recognize them and work with them consciously, you're no longer guessing. You're building. Not just physical structures. Realities. Because the same geometric laws that govern the construction of cathedrals govern the construction of lives. And that's the secret Freemasonry has been protecting.
Well, folks, today we're here to talk about Freemasonry and some common misconceptions about Freemasonry. The misconceptions stem from a mix of historical secrecy, cultural portrayals, and human tendency to fill gaps with speculation. Here's a breakdown. Secrecy and exclusivity. Freemasons' rituals and traditions are private, shared only among members, which breeds curiosity and suspicion. People often assume secrecy hides nefarious activities, with it's largely about preserving symbolic traditions and fostering brotherhood. The secret society label fuels conspiracy theories about global control or occult practice. Historical context. In the past, Freemasonry's influence in politics and society, example, prominent members like George Washington, led to fears of undue power. Anti-Masonic movements like the 19th century Anti-Masonic Party in the U.S. spread narratives of corruption or elitism, some of which linger. Pop culture and media, books, movies, and shows like The Da Vinci Code or National Treasure often depict Freemasons as shadowy puppet masters or treasure hoarding mystics. These dramatized portrayals prioritize entertainment over accuracy, embedding exaggerated ideas in public consciousness. Conspiracy theories. Freemasonry is a frequent target of conspiracy, often tied to unfounded claims about controlling world events, banking, and governments. These thrive because complex systems are easier to explain with a single mysterious villain. For example, X posts sometimes amplify claims linking Freemasonry to unrelated events like globalist agendas without evidence. Misunderstanding of ritual. Masonic rituals rooted in medieval stonemason guilds use symbols, tools, for example, compass, square, apron. In allegories to outsiders, these can seem bizarre or cult-like without context, leading to assumptions of occultism or weirdness. Religious concerns. Some religious groups view Freemasonry as incompatible with their beliefs, citing its ritualistic approach to spirituality, accepting members of various faiths, misinterpreting rituals as heretical. This has led to bans by certain churches, reinforcing distrust. In reality, Freemasonry is a fraternal organization focused on personal growth, charity, and camaraderie, with rituals that are more symbolic than sinister. Misconceptions persist because secrecy invites speculation, and sensational stories are more compelling than the mundane truth. If you want, you can dig into specific related claims or X posts. Just Google it. Freemasonry is a fraternal organization that's been around for centuries, sparking curiosity and sometimes suspicion due to its secretive nature. Here are some common questions someone curious about Freemason might ask, along with concise, accurate answers based on widely available information and general principles of the organization. I've aimed to address these objectively, avoiding speculation and conspiracy theories and sticking to what is known from reputable sources. What is Freemasonry? The answer: Freemasonry is a fraternal organization that promotes moral and personal development, brotherhood, and charity. It uses rituals, symbols, and allegories, like those drawn from stonemasonry, to teach ethical principles such as integrity, honesty, and compassion. It's not a religion, but emphasizes moral philosophy and self-improvement. Who can join Freemasonry? The answer: generally men over 18 who believe in supreme being, have good moral character, and are recommended by existing members can join. Requirements vary by lodge, but women are typically not admitted to mainstream Masonic lodges, though there are related organizations like the Order of the Eastern Star for women. Is Freemasonry a secret society? The answer: no. Freemasonry is a private organization with some secretive elements like rituals and passwords, but its existence, membership, and general purpose are public. Lodges often list their location, and many Masonic activities like charity events are open to the public. What do Freemasons do in their meetings? The answer: meetings involve rituals, discussions of moral and philosophical ideas, and planning charitable activities. Rituals often include symbolic ceremonies that teach lessons about ethics and brotherhood. Business matters like lodge finances or member elections are also discussed. Is Freemasonry a religion? No. Freemasonry requires members to believe in a supreme being, but is not a religion itself. It's inclusive of members from various faiths and focuses on universal moral principles, not religious doctrine. Why do Freemasons use symbols like the square and compass? The answer: the square and compass are tools of stonemasons symbolizing morality and discipline. The square represents fairness and honesty, while the compass signifies keeping one's actions within bounds. Other symbols like the all-seeing eye or the letter G for God or geometry carry similar moral meaning. Are there secret handshakes or passwords? The answer is yes. Freemasons use specific handshake signs and passwords to identify members and maintain the privacy of the ritual. These are symbolic and part of the tradition, not used for nefarious purposes. What's the deal with Masonic ritual? The answer: rituals are ceremonial practices that teach moral lessons through allegory and symbolism, often based on stories from biblical or historical traditions like the building of King Solomon's temple. They're meant to be reflective and instructive, not mystical or occult-like. Is Freemasonry connected to conspiracy theories? The answer is no evidence supports claims that Freemasonry controls government or global events. These conspiracy theories often stem from the organization's secrecy and historical prominence of some members. Freemasonry focuses on personal ethic and charity, not political power. What's the history of Freemasonry? The answer: Freemasonry traces its origin Freemasons to the Stonemasons Guild of medieval Europe, evolving into fraternal organizations by the early 18th century. The first Grand Lodge was formed in London in 1717. It spread globally, influencing cultural and intellectual movements, but also faces suspicion due to its private nature. Do Freemasons have ranks and levels? The answer is yes. Freemasonry has a system of degrees. The first degree, called the Blue Lodge degrees, are Entered Apprentice, Fellowcraft, and Master Mason degree. Higher degrees exist in independent bodies like the Scottish Rite, York Rite, but they are optional and focus on further moral teaching. Why do some people think Freemasonry is controversial? The answer: controversy often comes from its secrecy, historical opposition from religious groups like the Catholic Church, which has historically banned Catholics from joining, or exaggerated conspiracy theories. Misunderstanding about rituals and symbols also fuels suspicion. What are the benefits of joining Freemasonry? The answer: members often cite personal growth, a sense of brotherhood, opportunities for charity, and networking with like-minded individuals. It can provide a structured way to reflect on ethics and build community. How does one become a Freemason? The answer: to join, contact the local lodge, express interest, and meet with members. You'll need to be recommended, vetted for character, and go through an initiation process. The phrase "to be one, ask one" is often a Masonic saying. Are there famous Freemasons? The answer is yes. Historical figures like George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Winston Churchill were Freemasons. Modern celebrities like John Wayne, Buzz Aldrin have also been members. Membership doesn't imply influence over world events, just participation in the fraternity. What's the relationship between Freemasonry and other organizations like the Shriners? The answer: the Shriners, Knights Templar, Scottish Rite are appendant bodies, meaning they're related organizations that Masons can join after becoming Master Mason. Each has its own rituals and charitable focus, like the Shriners work with Children's Hospital. Is Freemasonry the same worldwide? The answer: core principles are similar, but practices vary by country and jurisdiction. Each region has its own Grand Lodge, which sets rules for local lodges. Some jurisdictions are more liberal or conservative in their approach to membership or ritual. Why don't Freemasons talk about what's happening in their lodge? The answer: members take oaths to keep certain aspects like rituals and signs private to preserve the tradition's mystique and encourage personal reflection. They're free to discuss general activities like charity work out openly. Does Freemasonry involve magic or the occult? The answer is no. While rituals use symbolic language and allegory, they're not magical or occult. They're designed to teach moral lessons, not invoke supernatural forces. How does Freemasonry contribute to society? The answer: Freemasons are known for charity, donating millions annually to the cause like education, healthcare, and disaster relief, for example. Masonic lodges fund scholarships, hospitals, and community programs, often through public events or foundations. In Freemasonry, seeking light is a central symbolic concept representing the pursuit of knowledge, truth, and personal enlightenment. Freemasonry is a fraternal organization that uses rituals, symbols, and allegories to teach moral and philosophical lessons. The idea of seeking light is introduced early in the Mason's journey, particularly during the initiation into the first degree, known as the Entered Apprentice. The symbolism of light. Light symbolizes knowledge, wisdom, truth, and moral understanding. In contrast, darkness represents ignorance or a lack of understanding. The phrase seeking light refers to a Mason's lifelong quest to gain insight into themselves, the world, and their moral duties. Initiation ritual. During the initiation ceremony, a candidate is described as being in darkness and seeking light. This reflects their transition from ignorance to enlightenment through the teachings of Freemasonry. The candidate is often blindfolded and then brought into the lodge where they receive light, symbolizing the revelation of Masonic teaching. Philosophical meaning. Seeking light is about personal growth and self-improvement. Freemasons are encouraged to study, reflect, and strive for intellectual and moral betterment. It emphasizes the importance of reason, ethical behavior, and contributing positively to society. The Masonic journey. The pursuit of light continues through the 3 degrees of craft masonry: Entered Apprentice, Fellowcraft, and Master Mason. Each degree imparts further knowledge and understanding, deepening the Mason's connection to the principles of the fraternity. The light sought is not only personal but also universal, encouraging Masons to share wisdom and act as positive influences in their communities. Universal and non-dogmatic. Freemasonry does not prescribe a specific religion or spiritual path. Instead, light is a universal concept that can align with a Mason's personal beliefs, whether religious, philosophical, or moral. It encourages open-mindedness and tolerance, focusing on shared values like charity, integrity, and brotherhood. The phrase is often tied to questions asked of a candidate during initiation. What do you most desire? The symbolic answer is light, signifying their desire for Masonic knowledge and guidance. The tools and symbols of Freemasonry, such as the square, compass, and the volume of the sacred law, are used to guide Masons toward the metaphorical light. All right. After watching that, I hope you gathered that to be one, ask one. If you have any interest at all, and you know someone who is a Mason, ask them, talk to them about it. You can go online. Every state has a Grand Lodge. A lot of local Blue Lodges have a website. Your Grand Lodge, I guarantee you, has a website. Email them. If you email your Grand Lodge, they will in turn get in touch with your local Blue Lodge, and someone will reach out to you. To be one of us, your right to gain admission is being a man, free-born, of lawful age, and coming well recommended. It's simple. Thanks for watching, and once again, I'm glad you got to see me.